I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Clayton Jones is a graduate student at Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches, Texas, where he is pursuing a master's degree in public history. His primary academic interests are Texas history and local preservation efforts. These interests have drawn him to volunteer and work with several local Nacogdoches historic sites, museums, archives, and cemeteries. Currently, he is a second-year public school educator who is also a full-time teacher at Woden ISD, where he teaches 7th grade Texas history. After graduate school, he hopes to rejoin the public history field, working in museums, archives, or a historic preservation office. His presentation is titled Curating Identity and History, Analyzing Texas Centennial Maps. Please join me in welcoming Clayton Jones.
Nice. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank the Texas General Land Office for the opportunity to speak at the 2025 Saving Texas History Symposium. I look forward to meeting you all and hearing from the amazing lineup of speakers. I'm excited today to share 6 commemorative maps that were created for the 1936 Texas Centennial. These aren't just maps for getting from one place to another, but they're pieces of art that tell a story about how Texas wanted to be remembered and how they wanted Texas history to be remembered. Through careful curation, the images and captions exhibit what it means to be a Texan, and by analyzing these maps, we can see how artistic expression and cartography come together to shape Texas identity and collective memory during the Texas Centennial. I would like to begin my presentation by showcasing 3 commemorative maps. These are one-sided artistic maps that were carefully curated by each organization to focus on exhibiting the history, culture, and motifs they felt best represented Texas memory and identity. The first map I want to showcase is the official Centennial map of Texas by the Daughters of the Republic of Texas. This map was produced in 1934 ahead of the Centennial year, 2 years ahead, and it was designed by Curtis Pruitt with artwork from Guy F. Cahoon. The map features many state symbols like bluebonnets, mockingbirds, the state seal, the state pledge, the state motto, and the 6 flags, which recur on each of the following maps. These familiar motifs express curated ideals of what it means to be a Texan. It is a beautiful work of art, this map, with portraits, travel routes, historic scenes, and natural resources and industries that appeal to Texans' sense of memory and identity. This map offers a twofold interpretation. One, celebrating the 100-year anniversary of Texas independence from Mexico, and another, recognizing the broader 400 years of Texas history. The first theme is evident through the portraits of 9 major figures that flank both sides. Portraits include members like Stephen F. Austin, Sam Houston, Maribel Lamar, Anson Jones, and more. Alongside these major historic figures, we also see scenes like over here depicting Santa Anna's surrender to Sam Houston, or down here we have the siege of the Alamo, and over here we have Fannon's surrender at Goliad. From this major theme, we can see that the DRT first wanted to uphold the memory of Anglo-Texans gaining independence from Mexico. That is, after all, what the Centennial was all about. But the second theme, 400 years of Texas history, which appears in the caption beneath the capital illustration here, takes that knowledge and expands it some more. In this interpretation, the DRT acknowledges that Texas history spans beyond the Centennial. To establish a deeper historical context, the map also includes depictions of indigenous tribes, Spanish conquistadors, and French explorers. Prominent images that uphold this deeper history include a Texas native on Caddo Lake over here, Pineda on the coast down here, and Coronado exploring Texas over here. Through its combination of symbols, figures, and imagery, the official Centennial map of Texas celebrates both Texas independence from Mexico while still honoring the deeper multicultural past that shapes the state's identity. The second map I would like to showcase was conceived by D.W. Reynolds and illustrated by artist Sam Winkler, titled Educational Map of Texas, Souvenir of the Texas Centennial. It includes a historical highlights excerpt down here, which interprets the state's history through the aforementioned theme of Six Flags. Unlike the previous map, this one features few historical or cultural motifs beyond the portraits of Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston in the Alamo here. Instead, this map focuses strictly on symbols of Texas industry, like oil derricks, cattle, mines, cotton, sugar, lumber, and ports. This map prioritizes the economic significance of Texas over the historical past. A large section at the top, titled Interesting Facts About Texas, the Lone Star State, emphasizes Texas's vastness, varied climate, and global economic prowess, with bold statements like, Texas produces 1/5 of the world's cotton and produces 90% of the world's sulfur. And at the very top of the map, we can see the statement, Texas, a self-sustaining empire within itself. This summarizes the map's intentions perfectly. The map positions Texas as an independent economic powerhouse capable of thriving on its own. Of the 6 maps I'll show you today, this one is by far the most straightforward. It proudly declares its intentions. Rather than define Texas' identity through history or culture, this map does so by showcasing economic success, self-reliance, and natural abundance. This is the Texas Centennial Exposition 1836 to 1936 commemorative map presented by Montgomery Ward. It features historical vignettes on both sides that showcase scenes from each era of Texas history, which of course means that it breaks it down into the Six Flags of Texas. And this map was commissioned by Montgomery Ward and Company, which, for those of you who don't know, was a major mail order retail business that operated from 1872 to 2001. The company was based in Chicago, but opened one of its 9 distribution centers in Fort Worth in 1928. And immediately following the centennial year, the Montgomery Ward Fort Worth Distribution Center doubled its size. Perhaps due to the successful advertising efforts during the centennial year with materials like this map that was created by W. Rodney Chirp, who was a Chicago-based graphic designer. The central map is speckled with a diverse curation of small illustrations and captions depicting various historic landmarks, natural features, industries, and historic figures. These features stood apart to me. Another notable motif states Fort Worth. Right up here. Oh, excuse me. Over here. It states Fort Worth, home of Montgomery Ward, with a pictorial of their distribution center. The company intentionally chose to highlight their own structure in Fort Worth over the stockyards or over the Frontier Expedition in Fort Worth. By placing their company amongst the historical and cultural motifs, the company suggests that they, too, are a part of the larger fabric of Texas identity. The next 3 maps are special edition road maps, and unlike the previous commemorative maps, these are 2-sided, with one side being practical, showing highways and navigation routes, and the other side focusing on artistic motifs that highlight significant landmarks and histories of Texas. I want to thank my mentor, Dr. Lydia Towns, for introducing these maps to me and inspiring me to analyze these maps after hearing about my love of Texas history. The following maps are preserved at the SFA Cartography Lab that was established in May of 2024 to give students direct access to historical resources, and founded by Dr. Towns after the department inherited a large collection of USGS topographical maps and classroom maps. And the lab has since then grown quickly to include more historical maps, atlases, and publications dating all the way back to the 15th century, with some reproduction manuscripts from the medieval period. The Cartography Lab also houses a small collection of artifacts such as Roman glass bottles, World War II ration books, and historical coins. To learn more about the SFA Cartography Lab's collection, please check out the table over there and talk to Dr. Towns. I encourage you to support the Cartography Lab and History Research Center as they continue providing students like myself with the invaluable opportunities to work with physical resources. The first roadmap I want to show you guys is the 1936 Humble Road Map of Texas. And if you would like to get a closer look at it, it's actually over there on the table. This map was commissioned by the Humble Oil and Refining Company and created by General Drafting. The front side primarily focuses on Texas highways, but does include a section at the bottom here that breaks down 6 defining traits of Texas: oil, sports, commerce, history, resorts, and cattle ranching. Unsurprisingly, Humble Oil and Refining Company emphasize the state's oil prowess first, featuring a depiction of their own Baytown refinery, which was at that time one of the world's largest. So you can see the Baytown refinery there, which was owned by the Humble company who produced this map. On the back side, it includes a U.S. highway map at the top and a small commemorative Centennial map toward the bottom. I zoomed in and blew it up here so you could see it a little bit better. This side still focuses on oil, and it marks 2 sites of importance: Chirino, which is over here, as the first oil well in Texas in 1866, and Spindletop over here, which is the first gusher well in 1901. As a graduate of Chirino High School, I find it very meaningful to see my hometown of 376 people represented. But the intentions are obvious. Humble Oil and Refining Company sought to uphold their company and the oil industry as fundamental to Texas identity. Another fascinating detail in this map is the inclusion of 2 French socialist settlements, one named La Reunion in Dallas and another named Utopia, Texas. The latter is described as an old French communistic settlement, which is a mischaracterization that reflects the growing anti-communist sentiment in the United States following the Russian Civil War and the First Red Scare. Their inclusion, despite both settlements' failures, underscore how the map subtly frames socialism and communism as incompatible with Texas identity. Because we are in Austin at the GLO's Saving Texas History Symposium, I would be remiss if I did not highlight that this map also features the old General Land Office building that was built in 1857 and now serves as the Capitol Visitor Center. Again, if you'd like a closer look at this map, I have it back there on that table. I'd be glad to show you. The next map is the official highway map of Texas, Centennial Edition, compiled by R.M. Stern for the State Highway Commission. The front side focuses on Texas highways and state parks and has a song at the bottom called Texas All Over, written by Gib Gilchrist, who later became the president of Texas A&M University. Unlike the other maps, though, this one avoids artistic renderings and instead uses actual photographs. One particularly striking detail about these photographs is that they are all in black and white except for the Texas Capitol, which is colorized in its distinctive pink hue. On the reverse side, the photos are arranged around a large lone star. Both sides reflect how the State Highway Commission chose to remember the Texas Centennial by prominently displaying the state's newest infrastructure achievements with various pictures of highways, railroads, and bridges. This emphasis makes sense considering the Commission's goal during the Centennial of celebrating progress and interconnectedness as a part of the Texas identity. This map also presents another strong interpretation: Texas as a sportsman's paradise. Numerous photographs feature hunting, fishing, scenic landscapes, and bodies of water. My favorite image on this map is titled Hill Country, Sportsman's Paradise, and it is this one right here. It's kind of hard to see on here, but what it shows is a tree with 7 deer hanging and being bled over 2 hogs. This image is both interesting and bizarre, but it reinforces the importance of hunting and self-preservation as a part of the Texas identity. Ultimately, this map represents a different kind of Texas memory, one rooted in both infrastructure and progress, while also remaining connected to nature and recreation. This map does not leave out historic landmarks of the past, but instead places Texas identity at the intersection of all 3: nature, history, and the future. The final map I want to showcase is the Texaco Road Map of Texas and Oklahoma, which was designed by Rand McNally. Because of its more utilitarian nature, the front only contains one tiny reference to the Centennial, which is placed in this small box right here. And it just directs travelers to, hey, the Texas Centennial is in Dallas this year, you should go check it out. On the other side, however, the map does not use images or art like the previous 5. Instead, this map features 100 text-based scrolls for the 100 years of the Centennial that briefly describe historic landmarks and events. This map stands apart from the others because it reifies the stereotype of cowboys versus Indians. And for example, out of the 100 scrolls for the 100 years, over half of them feature tales of skirmishes with indigenous people. This intentional decision to focus on sites of indigenous conflict reflect the growing popularity of the cowboys and Indians trope in the United States. Again, because this is Texaco, they also emphasize oil and natural gas as significant to the Texas identity. To wrap things up, as we've seen today, these maps do more than mark roads and borders. They celebrate Texas pride, progress, and personality. Each one captures a vast range of moments in history and captures how Texans remembered and identified Texas history. But they also remind us that preserving heritage is an ongoing effort. We need to value and save the stories that are left behind to keep Texas alive, not just in maps or museums, but in the heart of every individual that calls this state home. Before ending, I want to discuss an opportunity to save some Texas history. 4 of the 6 maps I presented today feature a site that is near and dear to my heart and my community, the Stone Fort Museum. This site put Nacogdoches on the map in 1936 when it was built as a Texas Centennial structure. Modeled as a replica of the 1788 Antonio Gil Ybarbo house that was destroyed in 1902 to make room for downtown development. For 89 years, the Stone Fort has served as a museum for Texas history on the SFA campus, providing students like myself with hands-on experience in public history. During my time as an undergraduate, I worked at the Stone Fort, conducting tours, inventorying artifacts, and producing interpretation. The museum is a recorded Texas historic landmark and currently nominated for the National Register of Historic Places. Yet despite its obvious historic, cultural, and educational significance, Stephen F. Austin State University's new campus master plan strategically omits the Stone Fort. Instead, the plan places a new science building directly over the museum's footprint. The Centennial replica now faces the same fate as its original: destruction in the name of progress. President Neil Weaver, and the university have ignored the community's pleas to preserve the Stone Fort, instead proposing relocation after public outcry. However, relocation is neither feasible nor appropriate, and the structure's unique construction would not survive a move. Even if it did, relocation would erase its historic integrity as a centennial structure and disqualify it from being a Texas landmark and National Register listing. Please scan the QR code to learn more about this issue and sign the petition to save the Stone Fort Museum. When you do, you'll receive updates on the status of this threatened landmark, and together we can help save the Stone Fort Museum and preserve its irreplaceable place in Texas history. Thank you, guys.